Hour 2. Industry status and entry dividends for ordinary practitioners. Full 60-minute English version. Complete full-hour content. VI. In-depth analysis. Why this is the final window for ordinary people to enter the industry. 12 minutes. After reviewing the 3-decade industry transformation, market scale and 4 major dividends, many of you still have one question in mind. This industry has existed for decades. Why exactly now is the best and most necessary time for ordinary people to join? Today, we'll break down the core underlying logic, the truth most industry insiders will not share. Public lie. First core point. The industry has completely shifted from a capital-driven high-profit era to a professional service era. In the past, success in non-performing assets relied entirely on 3 factors: capital connections and courage. Those with abundant capital purchased large asset portfolios. Those with internal resources obtained exclusive source deals. Those with high risk tolerance earned quick returns. In that era, ordinary people had no chance at all. The market was purely capital-oriented harvesting. However, starting from 2022, the entire industry logic reversed completely. Profit margins for large asset portfolios keep shrinking. Institutional competition becomes increasingly involuted. Large capital entry risks surge, and policy supervision grows stricter day by day. In contrast, massive gaps have emerged in small value, scattered individual-oriented, and service-oriented non-performing assets. Large institutions disdain these small deals. Big enterprises are unwilling to handle trivial cases. Veteran teams lack service awareness, and new practitioners lack professional capabilities. All these market vacancies are fully open to ordinary people and lightweight entrepreneurs. Second core point. The nationwide debt explosion and fully transparent judicial process have completely eliminated historical information barriers. 10 years ago, court information was undisclosed, auction data was opaque, and debt disposal channels were closed and exclusive. Ordinary people had no way to inquire about assets, case details, or legal solutions. Information monopoly was the biggest industry threshold. Today, national court announcement platforms, enforcement inquiry systems, judicial document networks, and judicial auction platforms are fully public, real-time updated, and accessible to everyone. The old information barrier is completely gone. The new industry barriers are no longer resources or background, but interpretation capability, risk control capability, service capability, and solution capability. Skills ordinary people can master through systematic learning. Third core point. Regulatory rectification has eliminated barbar IC operators, creating a vacuum dividend period for compliant professionals. In the past, the market was chaotic. Illegal debt collection, false disposal promises, gray area operations, illegal credit repair, and guaranteed settlement scams were everywhere. Formal service providers could hardly compete with unregulated teams. In recent years, large-scale regulatory rectification has shut down countless illegal accounts, banned unqualified companies, and blocked all gray channels. Market demand has doubled, yet over 90% of irregular practitioners have been eliminated. This is the greatest era dividend for compliant newcomers. The exit of inferior operators creates huge opportunities for legitimate professionals. To conclude clearly, the industry is not getting harder overall. It is getting harder for capital institutions, yet far easier for ordinary individual practitioners. 7. 3 core opportunities for ordinary industry entrants. 15 minutes. I will break down the most certain and practical opportunities for beginners in plain, actionable language. Opportunity 1. Massive normalized and younger default groups create endless rigid demand. In the past, overdue debts mainly belonged to business owners. suffering operational losses. The current situation is completely different. Ordinary office workers, young employees, housewives, and regular wage earners now face widespread credit card overdue, online loan default, and consumer credit arrears. These client groups share obvious characteristics. 1. Small debt amounts. Most lie ranging from tens of thousands to 100,000 RMB. 2. No intention of debt evasion, but complete ignorance of legal handling methods. 3. Extreme anxiety fearing lawsuits, account freezing, credit blacklisting, and home visits. 4. Willing to pay for professional solutions, psychological reassurance, and compliant disposal plans. This forms a nationwide rigid demand for debt consulting, the zero risk entry track for all beginners. The market scale is enormous. Hundreds of millions of people have credit records in China, with millions of new overdue cases emerging every year. There will always be new defaulters, always confused debtors, and always people in need of professional services. This is a permanent recurring business opportunity. 2. Judicial auction assets are normalized, shifting from speculative flipping to standardized disposal services. Most beginners still misunderstand judicial auctions as a way to buy properties at ultra-low prices for speculation. This was the logic of a decade ago. Today's judicial auction market is fully standardized, transparent, and market-oriented. Bargain hunting space has narrow and sharp lie, while risk identification demand has exploded. Current bidders care far more about safety than low prices. Property transfer eligibility, outstanding fees, occupation disputes, hidden seizures, clearance risks, and residual legal disputes. Ordinary practitioners do not need to purchase assets, invest capital, or take risks. Simply providing pre-auction due diligence, risk inspection, bidding guidance, and process consulting can generate stable service fees. This is an extremely stable, long-term, and profitable lightweight service track. Opportunity 3. Financial institutions rely entirely on third-party individuals for small non-performing disposal. Banks, consumer finance companies, and microloan platforms generate massive small overdue accounts daily. For institutional organizations, single small value cases generate low profits but high labor costs. Judicial litigation processes are lengthy. Bulk disposal is economically unviable. Institutions only package and dispose of large asset portfolios. All scattered small non-performing cases are outsourced for cooperative disposal. This provides ordinary individual practitioners with endless upstream asset sources. You do not need bank connections, leadership relationships, or elite backgrounds. Compliance and professionalism are your best entry credentials. 8. How long will this industry last? Authoritative long-term analysis. 10 minutes. I will give you a definitive answer. Non-performing asset disposal is not a temporary trend, but a permanent evergreen industry. 3 dimensions fully prove its sustainability. Economic law dimension. Where there is a credit system, there will be overdue debts. Where there is commercial operation, there will be operational losses. Where there is lending behavior, there will be defaults. Overdue risks will never disappear, they only circulate and renew continuously. Policy dimension. National policies consistent lie emphasize activating stock assets, resolving debt risks, and standardizing non-performing disposal. The industry is becoming increasingly standardized, legalized, and market-oriented, with strong policy support for third-party, compliant consulting and asset activation services. Regulations only crack down on illegal collection, gray operations, and false services, while strong lie supporting formal debt optimization and compliant asset disposal. Market cycle dimension. Undefined economic boom. Business expansion increases leverage, leading to operational failures and new non-performing assets. Undefined stable economy, daily overdue and default. Cases continue daily. Undefined economic adjustment. Massive non-performing assets are released, bringing industry peak dividends. The non-performing asset industry always maintains stable demand, regardless of economic cycles. The only difference lies in market segmentation. Large institutions capture high-value bulk projects, while ordinary individuals sustain stable profits from continuous small-value cases. 9. Individual practitioners versus institutional practitioners. Full advantage comparison 8 minutes. Many newcomers lack confidence, believing they cannot compete with institutions due to insufficient capital, teams, and resources. This is a critical cognitive mistake. Institutional disadvantages. Ordinary practitioner advantages. 1. Extremely high operating costs. Venue rent, staff salaries, taxes, and compliance expenses create heavy operational pressure. 2. Only focusing on large orders. Institutions ignore small, trivial, low-margin individual cases with high service requirements. 3. Rigid processes. Institutional workflows are fixed, slow to respond, and lack personalized service. 4. Risk aversion for trivial cases. Institutions refuse to handle scattered, complicated individual non-performing cases. Unique advantages of individual practitioners. 1. Zero operating costs. No rent, no payroll. No operational pressure. 2. High flexibility, fast response, one-on-one personalized service, and higher client trust. 3. Precise market positioning. Focus exclusive lie on individual retail markets with massive rigid demand. 4. Lightweight and sustainable. Zero risk accumulation, long-term operation, and word-of-mouth accumulation. Core summary. Institutions take high-value big deals, while individuals capture endless sustainable small deals. For ordinary entrepreneurs, low-risk stable incremental profits are far more reliable than high-risk institutional high profits. Our 2 full course review and practical mindset 5 minutes. In this 1-hour session, we have fully interpreted industry trends, era dividends, and underlying market logic. 3 core principles for new practitioners. 1. Non-performing asset service is a lifelong stable entrepreneurial track, not a short-term hype trend. 2. The current stage offers the lowest entry threshold, lowest risk, and largest dividend window for ordinary people in history. 3. In the next 3 years, compliant, professional, and lightweight individual practitioners will fully dominate the sinking service market. Understand the trend, eliminate fears, correct cognition, and enter daily. Ordinary people can definitely obtain stable long-term returns in the trillion-level non-performing asset market. End of full 60-minute hour to lecture.